듣고 따라 연습하세요. 영어 공부는 반복이 중요합니다.
When do you go to school? When do you go to school? When is she coming to the party? When is she coming to the party? When did they arrive? When did they arrive? When are we having dinner? When are we having dinner? When does he usually exercise? When does he usually exercise? When was the last time you traveled? When was the last time you traveled? When will it rain tomorrow? When will it rain tomorrow? When do you finish work? When do you finish work? When is your favorite show on? When is your favorite show on? When did she call you? When did she call you? When are they going to visit us? When are they going to visit us? When does the store open? When does the store open? When was the concert? When was the concert? When do you plan to start studying? When do you plan to start studying? When is the deadline for the project? When is the deadline for the project? When did you learn to swim? When did you learn to swim? When will you be back? When will you be back? When does the train leave? When does the train leave? When was your last birthday party? When was your last birthday party? When do we have a meeting? When do we have a meeting? When is the best time to visit? When is the best time to visit? When did he start his new job? When did he start his new job? When are you going on vacation? When are you going on vacation? When does the movie start? When does the movie start? When was the last time it snowed? When was the last time it snowed? When do you usually go to bed? When do you usually go to bed? When is your next exam? When is your next exam? When did they move to this city? When did they move to this city? When are we going to the beach? When are we going to the beach? When does your class end? When does your class end? When was the last time you ate out? When was the last time you ate out? When do you want to meet? When do you want to meet? When is the festival happening? When is the festival happening? When did she graduate? When did she graduate? When are they planning to leave? When are they planning to leave? When does the sun set? When does the sun set? When was the last time you saw him? When was the last time you saw him? When do you feel the happiest? When do you feel the happiest? When is the next train arriving? When is the next train arriving? When did you start learning English? When did you start learning English? When are we having a holiday? When are we having a holiday? When does your favorite restaurant open? When does your favorite restaurant open? When was the last time you went to the gym? When was the last time you went to the gym? When do you usually have lunch? When do you usually have lunch? When is the wedding? When is the wedding? When did they announce the results? When did they announce the results? When are you going to finish that book? When are you going to finish that book? When does the school year start? When does the school year start? When was the last time you visited your family? When was the last time you visited your family? When do you like to go shopping? When do you like to go shopping? When is the next holiday? When is the next holiday? When did you last see a movie? When did you last see a movie? When are they going to announce the winner? When are they going to announce the winner? When does your favorite band perform? When does your favorite band perform? When was the last time you went hiking? When was the last time you went hiking? When do you usually take a break? When do you usually take a break? When is the next meeting scheduled? When is the next meeting scheduled? When did you start your current job? When did you start your current job? When are we going to have a picnic? When are we going to have a picnic? When does the library close? When does the library close? When was the last time you tried a new recipe? When was the last time you tried a new recipe? When do you plan to visit your friend? When do you plan to visit your friend? When is the best time to go hiking? When is the best time to go hiking? When did you last go to a concert? When did you last go to a concert? When are they going to start construction? When are they going to start construction? When does your favorite show end? When does your favorite show end? When was the last time you went to the beach? When was the last time you went to the beach? When is the next big event? When is the next big event? When did you first learn to ride a bike? When did you first learn to ride a bike?
너는 마지막으로 언제 콘서트에 갔니?
When did you last go to a concert?
너는 그 책을 언제 끝낼 거니?
When are you going to finish that book?
도서관은 언제 닫니?
When does the library close?
그들은 언제 도착했니?
When did they arrive?
너의 수업은 언제 끝나?
When does your class end?
영화는 언제 시작하니?
When does the movie start?
너무너무 고생하셨습니다. 평안한 하루 되세요.